Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the More Joy podcast,
Hello,
where
hello.
we endure. No, we don't endure. We enjoy, not just
Not just
man,
endure.
we're trying to get that down. Where life should be enjoyed and not endured.
That's right.
There we go. That's what I'm
That's
trying to
right.
say. Yeah, see, we're working on this. I'm getting there. But we have a good time on the show. It
Oh,
is-
absolutely.
I am Brad, and this
I am
is
Selena.
my lovely wife, Selena, and we're here, and we thank you for being a part. Hey,
Yes.
and we want to thank you. We're like 17 episodes in,
I know.
which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
Amen. That is awesome. And we want to thank each and every one of you that have
Yes.
watched,
Tuned in.
watched partially our whole episodes.
Yes.
We are grateful
Yes.
for your presence here on
Absolutely.
the show, and want to give a big shout out to our partners that make this program possible.
Yes.
And so, yeah, if you'd like to join that group of people, just head over to the webpage, thehollemans.com,
Yes.
and you can join our growing family. But with that, as we're practicing and wanting to become better
Yes.
here in our crafting,
Yes.
so have you ever felt like that the day just got away from you? You ever had those days before? And they just got away, and you came to the end of the day and you said, what happened?
Where did it
Where
go?
did the day go?
Yes.
And maybe you'd like to grow in your intentionality and your ability to craft your days.
Absolutely.
And I know that's been for us. And if you've watched a few episodes back, we kind of started this conversation.
Yes.
So we want to, now that we've kind of had our guests here and we had a few wonderful interruptions,
Yes.
we want to pick up with this thought that was really more a question that was asked to me by my dear friend James. And he said this to me one day. He said, Brad, are you living the co-created life or are you living the reported on life?
That's right.
And that really did. And that was back in April
Yes.
of this year. And that really has been just going through my mind. I know we've talked about it. And what he meant by that, if you're just joining in, is well, what is the reported on life? Because again, as I'm apt to do, I practice all of these conversations on unsuspecting people. So today was stopped at the coffee shop on my kind of sales route as I do from time to time, and bought a coffee, and just one thing led to another. Just a great young lady, a young girl, really young woman, was there serving me. And by the way, shout out to it's Maker's Coffee in
Yes,
Morris,
Morris,
Alabama.
Alabama.
If you've not been to Maker's Coffee, I encourage you to go to
love
Maker's
it.
Coffee. It's
Yes.
delicious. But I was there, and the young girl who was taking my order, she just smoothly slid an upsell in on me.
Yeah.
And now that I'm in sales,
Yeah.
I appreciate a good upsell, right? When someone upsells you,
Because
and
it's something you needed.
it's something you wanted. I didn't need it. I
Yeah,
was
you did. You did because your breve
was big.
is bigger
It was
now.
a-
And you needed the extra coffee to make it balanced out. That's a need.
I love you.
Yeah,
This is
just-
awesome.
It's a need. Don't you agree?
It's a need. So that extra shot was a need. But she slid that extra shot in
Yeah.
there in a way where I found myself, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And so I just complimented her on her upselling abilities.
That's right.
And it started a conversation. And we had this same conversation about, are you living the co-created life?
Yes.
Or are you living the reported on life?
Right.
And it was so funny because what stood out to me is we had a great conversation, her and I. But one of her coworkers heard us talking
Yeah.
and came out from the little kitchenette and stood there and just listened. Thank
She
you.
just
Okay,
listened.
I was trying to. Okay,
No, she was there, man.
she was present and she was hanging
Yeah.
upon every
Because I
word.
bet you they might watch.
They
this
might watch, and that's
just
true.
Realize, wow, that impacted him.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And y'all laugh because I'm sometimes, Rodney, sometimes I don't mean to be brutal. It's not malicious.
No,
but I am-
No, but I am helping you.
Yes, you
soften
are,
that.
because I can be quite direct.
Yeah.
I have been accused of directness. I can, yes, as a baseball bat.
Yeah,
That can be me. And so, but
I'm
anyway, so
helping.
yes, you were helping. You were
Yeah.
doing a great job. So this young lady, she was there, and she was just hanging on every word.
And that is the point.
And I was noticing
Amazing.
that going, okay, well, wait a minute. So this topic of conversation, does it just affect 50-something-year-olds?
Right.
It's affecting 20-something-year-olds.
Right.
Because I think so many of us, we come to the end of the day and we just report on what's happening.
So I'm going to just lovingly interrupt here for a
Please
second.
do. Jump in,
This is
interrupter.
the More Joy podcast. So I don't know about you, but if I get to the end of my day and I literally have no idea where it went, that does not create joy. Okay. It's
That's
more
true.
of a frustration or a, what did I just do with my time?
Yeah.
Which means, what did I do with my life? My life force today, like where did it all go? And those days are numbered. So it detracts joy. It doesn't give joy. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that we understand what these guys are talking about, something that, where's the joy? That's the joy. And so if you want to experience that joy at the end of the day, when the way we've been talking about joy, it really is peppered in throughout your day. It's more of a mindset and a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things
Yes.
that literally fits like a puzzle piece at the end of your day when you're like that good, tired, that satisfied, I literally invested my time and my life into something worthwhile.
Yeah. Very good.
And it doesn't have to always be productive. That would be me.
That would be her.
It has
That's
to
true.
be productive. But I'm realizing now that it doesn't always have to be productive. It can be relational. It can be all these other beautiful things that make us the well-rounded humans that we are. And so, but I just wanted to highlight,
Yeah.
that's where the joy comes in.
It does. Was an aspect of joy, but, and. So it's an aspect of joy, and it's very achievable.
Absolutely.
Right, because I think so many times if we're not careful, and I don't like the word careful, sorry, bad word
Intentional.
choice.
We're just back to intentional.
If we're not intentional, sometimes a lack of intention can make me feel like a victim. When really there was no victimization that happened.
Nope.
No one took the day from you. No one came in and exerted themselves upon you in some way or whatever. It was, if I'm honest with me, many times the days that I felt like got away from me, it's because I wasn't intentional with my day.
We just get into autopilot
Yeah.
mode and let one thing lead to another,
Lead to another.
And that's when it's interesting that at the end of the day we go, guess what happened to me? And it's all happenstance.
Yeah.
And it's all within the framework we've created.
Yes.
Because at some point we did create the framework. So that's what we're talking about here.
And to add to this, and I've shared this many times, and you can get it. It's a very, very old book, especially like in the business world. It's by Franklin Covey. It's the whole 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I don't know if you've ever read that book or not. I've read pieces of it. I can't say I've read the whole thing.
Same.
But the part that has always stood out to me is he talks about these 4 quadrants, and it's quadrant. I wish I could draw something, but there's quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, and he says it like this: that quadrant 1 are the things in life where most of us live. It's the urgent and the important, the proverbial fires.
We're always putting out fires.
We're always putting out some
we all
kind
get
of fire.
pretty good at that.
And most of us live the majority of our life in quadrant 1. Then he says, quadrant 3 are things that are urgent but not important.
Right.
Right. Quadrant 1 is urgent and important. Quadrant 3 is urgent, not important. And then quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important.
Right.
Right. Like scrolling on Facebook.
Right.
I mean, or watching that Andy Griffith show for the umpteenth time, even though you love it, right? It's not urgent, nor is it important, right? But he says, but successful folk live in quadrant 2, which is all of the things that are important but will never be urgent.
Ooh.
They'll
Like
never,
working out.
and that's what we're saying is
Like working out.
like working out,
Yeah.
exercise.
The face. I love the face, Brad.
Yeah, I know. Well, you didn't have to go to Medlin. This is my show. I'm
Woo!
just teasing. I'll pay for that one later. But
No, the earrings are still in. They haven't come out.
that's
We're
right.
good.
We're good. But there is intentionality in life, and that's the co-created piece.
Yes.
Right? There are always things, and we all have them, and we need to take care of them, the urgent and the important.
Absolutely.
But what we want to talk about here is how do I intentionally with God,
That's the co-part.
that's the co-part, with God, build a life with Him that is filled with all of the wonderfully important things
Yes.
that may never ever be urgent.
Right.
Right. They may never, ever be. I mean, I think about even like this with our show. So important for us to do our program here with you guys.
Yes.
But will probably never be anything that ever becomes urgent.
Right.
Vastly important,
Yeah.
but never urgent. But yet, most of our satisfaction, our joy,
Yes.
our
That's right.
our influence in life is going to come from the things that we intentionally do that are important, and they're important to us, and they're important to God. They're going to be important in the lives of other people,
Yes.
right? And it just, and I guess I want to say, and all it takes, and not massive, all it takes is a small measure of intentionality,
That's right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now that makes me have an interesting thought. It's kind of like, we know faith as a topic in our belief system in Christendom. There's faith, and we've kind of defined faith. You know that confident expectation is faith. We've said that for a number of years. We've said things like faith is my positive response to what God has already done.
Right.
Right. Faith is my firm persuasion in who God is and what He will do. But faith also, and this is just hit me here with the show, so this is a brand new added definition to the
There you
term
go.
of faith.
There you go.
Faith is my intention
Yeah.
towards action.
I love that.
Right, what I like about that, and I want to make sure we're leaving with you guys is remember what Jesus said, that it's faith as a grain of mustard seed. So it's never large amounts of faith that are needed. Right. You don't need massive amounts of confidence.
Right.
You just
Yeah.
need a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't need massive amounts of persuasion. You just need to be a little persuaded.
Yeah.
In this, and I want to encourage you that it's not. Success in life doesn't require massive amounts of intention.
It isn't ever going to be that way.
It's
gonna
always
be the
the
little,
yes,
every day,
and we're
moment by moment.
That's so good.
Yes.
Have me remember that dot in future episodes as we
Sounds
do
good.
this. So with that, I want to talk out and look. I've got paper.
I know. What a miracle.
Brad, I have paper. It's amazing. It's amazing. I've got paper here. And the reason why, if you know me at all, it has been a personal practice of late
Yeah.
to very much speak in the moment. I want to speak to the people
Yes.
in the moment
Yes.
by the Spirit. That's
Yes.
kind of been my own personal mantra
Yeah.
of the last probably 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
Because I was trained well by those who
Yes.
trained me. And so I know how to make really, really cool notes.
Yeah.
I mean, I can make me some notes. But the challenge is there was a time in my life where I was very chained to my notes,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to depart from them for fear of making a mistake.
Right. Yes.
And so the Lord has helped
And then
me.
there's no freedom.
But with our show,
Yeah.
I'm realizing that I get up here and we go and we talk, and there's a bunch of stuff, and I'm sure
His
people
last
out there
name
going,
is not Holloman. His last name is Wing It.
we That's right. I'm the wing nut of the group. But it's this way. But I wanted to write some verses down because I do in this show with you. And actually, I was talking to one of our dearest friends, and he was asking me about the show and the difference between doing this program with you guys and like preaching a message and what I thought the difference was. And I'm like, man, the challenge really has been staying on point because, I mean, let's be honest, in a sermon, y'all are so gracious, you'll always give me 3 or 4 closings. Brad back there who's running the throat, when that clock hits a certain time, the show
We
is over,
are
right?
done.
Show's done, right? We're out. And so, but yet at the same time, I want to keep it relational. So I have notes. It's amazing. But one more time, I digress. So,
Well, all to say, I'm just going to say this.
Yeah.
You are now co-creating.
Yeah.
But in a freedom place.
absolutely.
Not because you're afraid,
Yes.
therefore you have to
Very
change
good.
your
That's
notes.
so good.
But you also want to serve our people well.
Yes.
And so now you're bringing in the element of notes, but from a very healthy place. And I
Yeah.
love that.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Because here's again, back to the question. So Brad's here. We had a producer change mid-show here. We like being real and live
Absolutely.
here. So Brad, are you living the co-created life or the reported on life? Are you coming to the end of the day and just telling people what's happened? Or are you coming to the end of the day and saying, this is what I made with my Father?
Right.
This is what we co-created together. Because it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 9, and I'm reading here the Passion Translation. It says, we are co-workers with God, and you are God's cultivated garden. You are the house he is building. And you read back up a few verses, and what Paul says there, he is, who is Apollos? Who is Paul?
Right.
We're simply ministers that God has given you.
Right.
And I got to make this little, I can't help myself. Did you know God's given you ministers?
Yes.
When you look at different translations of that verse, it says God has given each human being ministers as an act of love. One of the prayers we pray over our children is Lord, I pray
Yes.
that my children and your appointed ministers for them are going to meet
Connect.
in a timely manner.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because God has given us ministers who help us. And that's what Paul, that's all I am. Apollos, Paul, all we are is we're just ministers
right.
that God has given you, Corinthians. And together, we all,
Yes.
Apollos, Paul, and the listener, we are co-workers with Christ.
That's right.
Because God is cultivating us. God is building something out of all of us. But I love that in one translation it says co-laborers, fellow workers. It says in a different translation. Here it says co-workers. But I want to add this. You and I, we are co-creators
That's right.
with God.
That's right.
Again, if we go back to the book of Genesis, in Genesis chapter 1, as the story of humanity opens, again, we famously know verse 1 of the book. In the beginning, God created
That's
the
right.
heaven and the earth. So the
right.
very introductory thought or the introductory identity
That's
of
right.
God
Is creator.
is creator.
Yeah.
And then just a few verses down in that chapter, it says, and so God made us in his image. So that means we are co-creators with God.
Brad, I love all the different words that you're using.
Yeah.
Because I think so many times we've read some of these verses and now we kind of glaze over them.
Yeah.
And so when you started talking about some of these things, it literally draws new pictures for our mind, and it doesn't trip the same old that we've all heard. And I love it.
Well, and the reason why I said that is for me, and again, in my own twisted human journey. And what I mean by that is we all have a twisted human
How about
journey.
Twisty?
Twisty. What was that movie, Twisty?
Oh, Brad.
Here
Here comes the boom.
Here
Anyways,
comes the boom.
all
That's right.
right.
Anyway, so great movie if you haven't seen it. Anyway,
Brad,
so,
all of it.
but in our own twisty, turny journey into
you go.
humanity, somewhere along the road, I picked up a false belief, a lying belief that I wasn't creative.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think that really begins this whole thing of why do so many people, maybe you're like me, you just kept telling people this is what happened today.
Yeah.
Because somewhere in your own identity you believed, well, I'm not artsy
I'm
like
not
my
artsy,
kid.
so I guess I'm not creative.
I'm not creative.
Right.
I'm not, I don't know, I'm just Brad. I'm kind of boring.
And the
right?
thing is, my kids all draw beautifully. Some of them paint. I mean, all this stuff, right? And I'm over here like, well, I just write music, so
Yeah.
it's not the same thing. So I guess I'm not an artsy person. And if we're not careful, we start taking on, like Brad said, that identity of I'm not creative. You make this huge leap that now you're just there to do a work, do job,
Take up space.
take up space, check off the list, and you do whatever you put your hand to, but just do it. Instead of realizing that all of our work is creation. We're
Yes.
creating something
Yes.
all the time.
Every day.
Every day.
Intentionally or unintentionally.
Right.
There's not a human. So again, it's like, so that's why I wanted to start with this, because that was been part of this whole journey. Is I was asked that question. Well, Brad, are you living the co-created life, or are you just reporting on what happens at the end of the day?
Yeah.
And it really made me go, wait a minute. I am a creative being.
That's right.
Because I was made in the image of a creator. So I am co-creating every day with God. That is my potential, is that I get to wake up every day and I'm going to talk about it, and with the tools in my toolbox, I said it last night as we told this at church, think of them like crayons. I know I'm very childish, Brad, I'm very childish, but God loaded your life with a box of crayons.
Yes. Yeah.
That you and I get to color with, draw with, create with.
That's right.
Every day.
Right.
So that at the end of every day, when I come to the close, and somebody might ask me, well, Brad, what'd you do today?
Yeah.
Right?
I always ask you.
You do. and I want to be able to create a new way of living for me personally. I can tell people, well, this is what I created with Father today.
That's right.
This is what Papa and I did. This is what we made. Hey, today, at the time, it's a Thursday, we made a show about co-creating with God.
That's right.
Right? That's what we did. And along with other stuff, I had a great conversation. I co-created. I intentionally at the coffee shop this morning started a conversation on purpose because I wanted to encourage, because I felt that inward
Nudge.
Co-creating nudge with Holy Spirit.
That's right.
Encourage this young girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I love
and so
that.
we started, and so now we come to the end of the day and we have something we can go, ta-da, right?
Yes.
So with our time, so what we're going to do in the coming episodes of the show, and Celine's going to keep me on, I got paper. We're
Now,
going to
I can keep them
unpack
accountable.
our crayon box.
Yes, let's do that.
So we're going to unpack the tools of co-creation. And again, and this, what we're going to cover is not necessarily, I'm trying to say, is exhaustive. It's just my thoughts, our thoughts today that God will add to. But we really want to help inspire you in your own co-creating journey. But with that, I did want
these tools have started to absolutely bring so much joy, because it's like discover, and I know where you're going, so I won't go there yet, but it's like you're discovering new facets of your friendship with your Heavenly Father.
Yes, that's right.
And you're going, whoa, this is fun.
This is fun.
And so those are the things. Remember, the reason we want to do this broadcast to begin with is because the things that we've heard and seen and handled, we want to share with you that your joy may be full.
Yeah.
Right? And so...
Well, and so I'm going to do that with a few minutes that remain. I'm going to use the close kind of our program with a bit of a visual example of something, because this is part of the journey. I remember, and it's so fun to see how God leads us on this journey of revelation and discovery, and he's building, just like Paul said, he's building this house.
That's right.
He's cultivating this garden called Brad.
That's right.
But with that, I remember it was a number of years ago, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, something like that. And we have a house full of kids. Those that know us, we have 6 kids in aggregate. So I jokingly say, for years we have been deforesting the planet by the ream, right? Kids have been drawing pictures, they've been creating stuff, they've been doing stuff. And I remember one day God was there and he would show me things and he would say, can you just not be like your kids? You don't have to beg them to create anything. Right. I'm not leaving the house in the morning going, well, bless God, there better be
a picture.
6 pictures here waiting on me when I get back, right? Or you're just not being faithful. Or you're just not being, no, they're just out there creating, right? And it's growing, and then they bring it up to us and they show us. And I jokingly say, when my youngest, Courage, when he was small, he would be coloring with the big brothers and sisters, and he'd be doing that. And he would say, look, Daddy, because that's all every kid, I come through the door and everybody, Daddy, can I show you what I did today? Daddy, can I show you what I made today? Hey, Daddy, let me show you and God was saying, Brad, can you just be like that little child and just create some stuff?
Yeah. Yep.
And just make it. So real quick, because our time is what I'm going to show you. So this is, at the time this Father's Day has just passed. So Courage, my son, he has improved. So he makes this little Father's Day card. I have to show it here on the back. It says, hey, oh, there we go. How does it say? Thank you for teaching me everything.
Everything.
Which is
Everything.
funny. And just, but the part that teared me up on Father's Day is it comes around and it's gotten better. And it, again, you can tell a child drew it. You know, he's 10, 11 now at the time of this. But if I pull this out, he goes, look, and it's me running towards you. Right?
Yes.
And I remember being in that dad moment where you're crying and stuff. But this has now become, because I'm talking about this, because it's come a long way from the squiggles on a piece of paper.
That's right.
That you kind of wondered what it was. And now it's grown.
That's right.
But he did this because he wanted to.
Yeah.
Not because he was forced to.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
but because it was just in him to want to do it. And I just wanted to leave that as an example for all as we talk about this. That's the heart of our Father. He just wants us to create with him, just like children do, and come to the end of the day and we go, Daddy, can I show you what I did?
Yes.
Hey, Daddy, can I show you what I made you? Man, I took these things, these giftings, these abilities, these tools you gave me, and I made something for you. And he's just pleased, as you and I are as fathers, to see what you made, right? So, guys, we're going to pick up there on the next coming episodes. Again, if you'd love to chime into the conversation, ask some questions, make a comment, you can just email us at info@thehollemans.com. Again, there at the website, you can find everything that we have to offer. And again, we are letting everybody know, hey, we have made our Marriage Foundations video course. It is available. If you'd like to link to that, there it is. You can just scan the QR code and avail yourself to that. We did it with all our heart for you guys. It's a great gift to give young couples that are getting married.
Yes.
So it's just going to be just a great tool to serve so many people. But
Yes.
we will see you guys in the next video as we talk about more of the tools of living the co-created life.